22 on the Chapter 7 review. And I know I've already answered a lot of your questions about this, but I want to show a couple different ways to solve this problem. All right, so here is the problem, and I'm going to write it down because the main mistake has to do with how it's written and how it's interpreted. And so if this is the actual problem itself, the way that you want to be able to interpret this is, and let's say the question is the part of finding the x-intercept is the biggest problem. Okay, so when you're finding the x-intercept, what you're doing is you're plugging in the 0 for y. So the way that you would do this is let y equals 0 and solve for x. Okay, so you can do this a couple different ways. Okay, so one, on your calculator. If you're going to solve this on your calculator, you can use the solve feature and then just type in, plug in a 0 for y. Okay, and if you're going to use your actual calculators with the updated operating system, you can say log of x, comma 3. This means log of x base, or log base 3 of x. Okay, so the first mistake comes here in not realizing this minus 4 is not part of what's inside the log. It's a vertical shift, a transformation that happens outside the log. So the way to enter that on your calculators would be log, parentheses, x comma 3 gives you this portion, log base 3 of x, and then the minus 4 comes after it. Okay, so that would be the first way that you could possibly solve this if you have the updated operating system. If you don't have the updated operating system and you still wanted to use the solve feature, you can still do it this way. The way that you would enter this on the computer, or on the calculator that's on your computer, is 0 is equal to, and you can use change of base form for this. So either log or ln. So I'm going to use ln here. So ln of x divided by ln of 3. That's equivalent to this log base 3 of x. And then we're going to subtract a 4 and solve for x. So if I use the solve feature and say 0 is equal to ln of x divided by ln of 3, and then subtract 4 from that and solve for x, I'd get my answer of 81. And you get your answer of 81 here as well. Okay, and then the final way to look at this is to solve it by hand. You're still letting y equals 0 and solve for x. So if you're going to do this by hand, and this problem really is one that you can solve by hand probably quicker than it takes to enter it on the calculator, if you understand the process, and that is in solving for x in a log, in solving for your variable inside of a log, you're going to isolate your log expression. So we need to add 4 to both sides here. That gives us 4 is equal to log base 3 of x. And now once you get the log completely isolated, all you need to do is rewrite this in its exponential form, and that'll get x outside of this log. So if we take the base of the log, that becomes the base of our exponent, to the power of whatever's on the other side is equal to whatever's inside the log, which is just the x. So x equals 3 to the 4th, which is 81. So you can do it either of those ways to answer the question. But again, even if you are using the calculator on the computer, you can still solve problems with that. You just would need to interpret the change of base formula when you rewrite your logs.